Welcome back to Outside Views, and bro, we need to talk. And today I want to talk about a political disaster that, in my non-British opinion, has become a self-inflicted wound, and that's the utter failure of Brexit. And the title of this video is blunt because the reality demands it. Britain is off track and Brexit is to blame. And I'm not just saying that. The very people who put the current government in power are saying it too. The data coming out of the UK right now is absolutely damning. It's been 14 months since the last general election, and almost 3/4 of the British public, with 72%, they say the UK is heading in the wrong direction. But here's the truly significant and heartbreaking truth. The very electoral coalition that swept the Labour government into power is now pointing the finger at Brexit. A clear majority of those 2024 Labour voters say the country is off track, and for 61% of them, the number one reason is Britain's withdrawal from the European Union. This now is the ultimate moment of reckoning. The voters have finally seen the lie for what it is. The empty promises, you remember, the £350 million a week for the NHS, the famous red bus, the newfound global opportunities, that all vanished into thin air. And what remains is a cold, hard economic reality. And let's be brutally honest about the figures, because this is where the fantasy of Brexit collides with the fact. Brexit has slashed UK GDP by an estimated 4% and wiped a colossal £40 billion from the Treasury's annual budget. £40 billion. And as the government now considers painful tax hikes and spending cuts, the truth is inescapable. A significant chunk of that austerity is a direct bill for the disaster that is Brexit. And the voters know it. They cite the damage to the economy and the broken promise of new opportunities as the primary reasons why they now overwhelmingly believe Brexit has been a failure. How can you claim to be a patriotic sovereign nation when your own political choices have made your citizens poorer, your public services weaker, and your economy less competitive? And the voters are not feeling global Britain, they are feeling the cost of living crisis, and they can trace it directly back to the damage Brexit did to the UK's ability to trade with its largest, closest partner. And who do the British people, including a shocking 81% of those disillusioned Labour voters, rightly blame for this spectacular failure? Nigel Farage. Almost 7 in 10 members of the public point to him as the person responsible, more than double any other party leader. Farage, the chief architect of this destructive project, is now running around saying Brexit has failed, but he blames everyone but himself, of course. He is the master of deflection, the original snake oil salesman who sold a grand fantasy of sovereignty and freedom, which has resulted only in anger, frustration, sadness, and a crushing sense of being let down. The word people now use to describe Brexit, anger, frustration, sadness, and betrayal, paint a bleak picture of a nation that feels lied to, a nation that has been led up the garden path. And this is not the language of a great national liberation, it's the language of grief and regret. And the question now is not just about who is to blame for that is settled, but what the current government will actually do about it. They have been handed a gift, an undeniable mandate for their own base to tackle the painful, expensive legacy of Brexit. And as one Foreign Affairs Committee chair put it, the public expects them to take a pragmatic and constructive approach to relations with European partners. And this means moving beyond the childish, self-defeating dogma of the last decade. This means delivering on the promise of better relations to tackle the cost of living and international crime, which are now harder to fight without close European cooperation. And the government cannot afford to sit on its hands and pretend that Brexit is done. It's not done. It's a live wound that is bleeding the country dry, costing £40 billion a year. And there are still transitional periods. Let's talk about Euroclearing at a later date once again, which will cost them money as well when that's gone. And they must move quickly to reduce the barriers, to rebuild the relationships, and to finally put the interests of the British people, and that's their cost of living, their trade, their public services, ahead of political fear and ideological purity. Until the British political class is brave enough to address the reality of the damage, the UK will continue to be off track, and the architect of its national disappointment will continue to thrive in the vacuum of common sense. So thanks for watching Outside Views again, and I'm really looking forward to your views here, but as always, stay civil. No matter on what side you're standing, you can bring every point of view, but no insults. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.